Merry meets everyone. Today I'm going to be sharing with you how I set up my altar. So this is my altar. Everything that's on it has some sort of meaning to me, and when you set up your altar, the things that you're going to add are going to be different than what I have, and they're going to mean something personal to you. So a lot of the things you see here are elemental based because my practice is very elemental based. But if your practice is different, you'll have to choose what is the important in your practice. If you work with deities or spirit guides or anything like that, then you'll want to add those things onto your altar. If you work with a certain type of thing, then you'll want to add those things into your altar. If you're like I said, mine's elemental based, so a lot of my stuff pertains to some a certain element in certain ways. You'll see a lot of earth and fire in my altars because those are the elements that I'm most drawn to. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into how I set my altar up, and I hope that this was helpful. And as always, if you have any questions, please message me and I'll get back to you. Okay, so I'm gonna get into the rest of the video. Before we get started, I wanted to talk a little bit about altars in general. Your altar doesn't have to look like anything that anybody else's looks like. So what I'm going to do today is going to pertain particularly to me. There are things that mean something to me, so you need to figure out what's important to you, what you want to add to your altar. I have a lot of things on my altar that pertain to the elements. I also have a lot of more aesthetic things that have been gifts to me. So, as I've said in past videos, my husband, he's a wonderful giver, so he's always giving me, new things. So I have, little things like that. Like I have a little altar table that I'm going to be putting on here, and, I don't really use that as an altar table, but it does go on this altar because it is special to me. So I just wanted to, put that out there in the beginning before I forget to say it. Your altar should, everything that you put on your altar should have something to do with what you're interested in, what your practice is like, and all of that. So you'll probably want things on your altar that I don't have on mine, especially if you're working with a deity. You'll want to have some sort of representation for that. I work with the elements, so I have a lot of elemental representation, and you're going to see that all over this altar. I hope that you're able to see all of it. This is about the best setup that I got. So okay, so moving on to the first thing that I do when I'm setting up my altar is I figure out whether I want an altar cloth or not. You don't have to have an altar cloth. They're nice because it kind of, makes the whole thing tie in together. You don't have to have any specific type of altar cloth. This green is just a scrap piece of fabric that I have. I'm a sewer, so I have lots of little pieces of fabric sitting around. It's not even hemmed. It's just I cut it and fit it to this table. This purple one is a store-bought altar cloth. You can find them anywhere, in any price range. This was also a gift from my husband, but I really like having this extra piece on top because it kind of collects all of, the spills and mistakes that I may make. No, it never fails that I'm doing something where I'm doing some type of spell work where I dump something, or I get ash everywhere or something like that. So this one I kind of keep for that because it kind of collects all of that, and then I can just pull this purple one off and then wash it and then bring it back. So I don't have to completely dismantle the whole altar. I just have to pull this piece off. So you don't have to have any specific fabric or anything like that. Like I said, if you're go to the fabric section of Walmart and you're drawn to a certain fabric that doesn't seem very witchy to you, then you need to go with it, because that's what it's, that's what your intuition's telling you. So if you're going and you see a puppy fabric, then, and that's what you're drawn to, then use that. There is by no means saying that you have to have a triple goddess on your altar cloth, or you have to have a pinnacle or anything like that. It's just, like I said, this was a gift, so I use it for its purpose. If I had not been given this, it wouldn't be here. It would just be the green fabric. So try and think about the things that mean most to you and what you're drawn to when you're looking at altar cloths. You don't have to just go buy a pre-made one. You can go buy any piece of fabric. All you got to do is measure your surface that you're using. I have a desk here that I use, and then it's quite wide. Like I've mentioned in the past, my other altars are nowhere near as big as this. So it does not matter what size your altar is. It does not matter what cloth you put on it. The only thing that matters is that you're drawn to it and that it's personal to you. So that's the only thing I'm going to say about that. I know I tend to rant about, choosing things for your own personal likes and wants instead of going with what's pretty and fashionable. So the next portion of the video is just going to be me setting up this altar. I probably will do a time lapse of it. I'm not going to really go into a whole lot of what each item means to me, because like I said, it's completely personal to me. You're going to see a lot of like I said, gifts, and then you're going to see a lot of elemental based things. And then of course, I have a few, just pretty things that I like to add. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with that. Like I said, I'm not going to really, discuss too much. So I probably will do a time lapse of the rest of it and then come back at the end and have a little discussion of what, it's turned out like. You were able to see all of that. So this is kind of what this altar looks like. It has a lot of earth elements and a lot of elemental representation. I hope that you can see this little tray over here. Barely. But I have this little tray. And it's just a little Dollar Tree tray. It's one of those little silver ones, and then I just have all of my representation of the elements on it. I have my earth, I have my water, I have my fire and my air. And these are just representational for me. All of the things, like the earth-based ones, I've collected. This pine cone was a gift from my husband when he was activated for a fire a couple years ago. This is on one of our family outings. And then, of course, salt is always representational of earth for me. And these are some little shells that I had, and some blue stones, which blue is the color for water. And then I have my fire here, you know, which is just some matches, a candle, and a charcoal disc. And then I have my air here, which are just some incense, and then I have one of our duck feathers. And then these are just little things that my daughter made for me. And like I've mentioned in past videos, children's gifts are very magical in their own, so definitely keep those in mind when you're trying to set up your altars. So I have a little stand here with a notepad on it just in case I need to take notes. I have these little rune cards. I made these, and they are just here just in case I need to use them in any type of spell work. I made them originally when I was trying to learn my runes, and I thought it would be good to add it to this altar. That way I can use it for spell work if I need to. These little cards that you see around are out of my pagan. It's a tarot deck called Pagan Tarot, and I really liked the backing on these, so I have just the 2 extra cards. These are just the face cards that I use as decoration. I have my pencils here in case I need some sort, you know, to take a note or something. They are all witchy based, and of course I have a little pot of gold there because Ireland is my heritage. So I found these little star dishes at Dollar Tree a few years back, and this one just holds bay leaves, and this one holds my incense, my charcoal, and my sage, and then some matches. This is my working candle. All it does is just I light it and use it to light other things. It doesn't really have any purpose per its color or its shape or anything like that. It's just a working candle. So that's all it's used for. It's just to use for lighting other things. I have some herbs here. I have rose buds, rose petals here, and jasmine. And that's just because I use these a lot in my workings, and they're pretty in these little bottles. So okay, so this is the altar, the little altar table I was telling you about that my husband bought for me. I mainly use it just to hold my incense when I'm using incense during spell work. So this is just an incense burner. I have my little altar broom here, and then a candle snuffer, and then I got these little cauldrons at Party City, and when ours was going out of business. And they're just cute little plastic cauldrons. I think I paid like $1 for a huge package of them. So you'll see in that plate, that's what I'm using here for the salt. I just think they're very, to me, the cauldron is very representative of my craft in general. So I like to use the little cauldrons just to hold stuff. I obviously wouldn't burn a candle in here. It's just this is an extra candle, so it's just sitting there. I have a lighter. I have my original Rider-Waite tarot box here because I don't keep it in a box. I keep it in a bag. But I wanted to have it on this altar to represent that I do use divination as part of my practice. I don't necessarily use that particular deck too often, but you know, I thought it was a good way to represent it. I have some moon rainwater here. I have some salt, some more pine cones. Like I said, they were a gift from my husband a few years back. I have another card, And then I have a crystal ball here. This is Egyptian themed. My husband got this for me for Christmas a few years back, and I really like it. I haven't really used it for you know, gazing or anything, because I really haven't got into that yet. But I have it here when I do want to use it. I do hope to visit Egypt one day, and that's kind of why he got that. It's not that my practice is Egypt based. It's just I'm a history lover, and Egypt has a lot of history. So I think that I've covered everything. So as you can tell, everything that I've added to this altar is completely personal to me. And I can guarantee that none of this is very expensive. So I do not break the bank when I do anything witchcraft whatsoever. I try to do it on as cheap as possible, but you know, that is the rule of my life. I try to do everything as cheap as possible. I don't like to waste money where I don't need it to be wasted. So I find ways of creating what I need without being very expensive. So always check your Dollar Tree. Like I said, I found these little star containers here at Dollar Tree. I found this little plate here. This is an old candle bottle that I got from Dollar Tree. It had a candle in it. I used the candle and then I cleaned it out to put rainwater in. You know, just little things. Find things on clearance. These are an old, we got one of those jelly sets one year for Christmas, and these are the jars out of it. I repurpose everything. If we have any type of glass jar come into the house, I repurpose it for my apothecary. So always, you know, try to choose things that are personal to you. If you have some herbs that you use all the time, I may not use jasmine as often as I use rose, but I do use rose a lot. But I love the smell of jasmine, and it kind of gives me that sense of everything's okay. So if I need to just take a smell, then I can just take a smell. So, so yeah, so that is how I set up my altar. Like I said, yours is going to have different things. It's going to mean, you know, each thing is going to mean something different to you. But my practice is mainly elemental based. So I have a lot of elemental things on here. And I'm sure you've noticed that a lot of it is earth based. You know, there's a reason why my witchy name is Earthfire. So those are my two most favorite elements. I use them the most out of anything, and it was just, you know, it's just who I am. So so yeah, I think that I've covered anything. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, definitely shoot me a message and I will get back to you as soon as possible. And I hope everybody has a great day. Blessed be.